Hello, world. Bernie Sanders is making another important speech, and I thought we would.
Impact not only our lives,
Okay.
but the lives of our kids and grandchildren, and in terms of climate change, the very health and well being of the planet. As you heard tonight, President Trump has been very effective in creating what I would call a parallel universe for his supporters. A set of ideas that either have no basis in reality or in the great scheme of things are nowhere near the most important concerns of the American people. And one way that he does that is through the concept of the big lie, and boy, did we hear that tonight. You say something that is grossly false, say it over and over again, and have right-wing social media blast it out endless times until people actually believe it. And then, rather than address the real issues facing the American people, the struggles that the American people are facing, we find ourselves wasting endless amounts of time discussing Trump's absurdities. Let me
Yeah, there's a lot of the methods that you see uh, Trump doing is is in the playbook of people that want to deceive you. You want to cast a lot of doubt about how things are and distract people. This has been something, and let's be clear here. This has been something that Republicans have been doing for a very long period of time, and to some extent, Democrats. And a voice of reason like Bernie Sanders, a lot of times it just falls on deaf ears. He gets big crowds, then the people don't have the gumption to go and vote. Uh, or, the too many people decide that, oh, others won't, he's too liberal. You know what I mean? That he makes too much good sense. This is this is this is a travesty of our country. He's run twice for president, and I voted for him both times. Many of us did, and I believe he could have won. But no president can do everything. You need to have a Congress that has good sense. And people just, the insanity gets repeated so many times that, you just ignore it. You become numb to it. Marjorie Taylor Greene, you know, you take a look at, how she behaves. The woman is mentally ill and has has no business being being in government. She just carrying on and telling all kinds of lies. Now, some of the lies that they do are conspiracy theory type things, where you doubt the authority, and so there's no fact checking. There's no respect for education. People with earned titles in science and medicine uh, are ignored, and the way that people get people stirred up, they use fear. It's like this idea that pharmaceutical companies are absolutely only in it for profit, period. So, you know, they're all fudging the books, and and their medicines aren't there to help us. Um, well, you get people believing baloney like that, and just by like he says, he's just repeating the lies, repeating the insanity, until people, it sinks in, and they start to think, well, that must be the way things are. Well, they're not that way. But do we have a voting public willing to think? And when you talk about thinking, if you can't doubt your most cherished thoughts and conclusions, then you're not thinking. You gotta be willing to take a look at things, but you also have to understand what a fact is. Something that's a fact, is involved with what's real. It's like a theory, and a theory is useful. It predicts dependably things in the future or things in the past that you would expect to be there if this theory is correct. And within some parameters, it's always a fact. Newtonian physics within its range is still used today. It's a fact, within its parameters. When we needed to explain some things it didn't explain, we had a bigger theory, that was useful, um, to understand the movement of the planets more precisely, and so on. It's, okay. But just pulling things out of thin air and believing in conspiracy theories, that's not healthy. That destroys everything. And as long as people are going to do that, no form of government can save them. They have to start to think. They do. And our schools, I blame our schools. Our schools aren't teaching kids how to think, we're just teaching them what to think. And, puzzle solving can be fun. And if they would teach like that, then we would have kids that carry some of that genius that infants and toddlers have. Think how much they learn so quickly and how they grow. And, and then the schools dumb them down, a lot of ways. They educate them in a way, but you end up with educated people who can't think. And that's a sad thing. They need to be able to think, to understand situations. And because people don't think is a reason that you've got a guy like Trump in charge in the first place. And just like Bernie says, they just keep repeating lies and carrying on, and you get numb to it, and you start to accept it. So it's part of the plan that people who are power sick in a way of power mongering and greed, that's what they want to do, and they do not care about people. Let's uh, let's listen a little more to
Let me just
this
give you a very few
fine fellow.
examples. Trump claimed that the 2020 election was stolen from him and that
The
he
lie.
won by a landslide. Remember that? A lie.
It was
Trump
studied
claimed
too.
that the January 6th insurrection was a day of love. A lie. Trump has claimed that millions of undocumented people voted and do vote in American elections. A lie. Trump has claimed that climate change is a hoax originating in China. A lie. Trump has claimed that Ukraine started the horrific war with Russia. A lie. And tonight, just tonight, Trump claimed that millions of dead people between the ages of 100 and 360, I guess, were collecting Social Security checks. And that is an outrageous lie intended to lay the groundwork for cuts to Social Security and dismantling the most successful and popular government program in history. So let's be clear about that. Well over 99% of Social Security checks are going out to people who earned those checks.
Yeah,
70
that's the point.
million Americans. Nobody.
Those are earned benefits. It was an investment. And you know how many times they've robbed the Social Security to give tax breaks to the rich, and how many times, or to overcharge the government, you know, to pad their pockets. Yeah, there's been a lot of that too. So, but where is the fat there? The fat is where the greed is. It's where the people that are being enriched by their manipulation of government, by their the not paying their fair share of taxes, and these sort of people, they don't care about you. The average guy. They don't care, and that poor people actually pay more than their reasonable share in taxes just from sales tax alone. Um, and so they need a break. They're not even on the radar, and this overly conservative government that we have. It's you hear them talking about the middle class, the middle class. It's what about the poor? What about the elderly who desperately depend on Medicaid and Medicare? And why don't we have that available for children? Other countries provide that kind of help, and it's working. There's working models of in countries in Europe where they take care of the people and they take care of their democracy, and they have better lives. They do have better lives. So, and rich people, by the way, they the super wealthy. They don't have to worry about doctor bills. It's, billions of dollars more than they could use and their family could use. For they'd be taken care of for 1,000 years. Nobody earns that kind of money. Nobody dares say that. Well, I'm saying it. They didn't earn it. They got it off of other people that were working hard. Elon Musk is no genius. He's using genius people, physicists, and so on to pad his pockets. That's it. And his love of wanting to go to Mars like some kid, not realizing that the money would be better spent trying to figure out how we're going to divert asteroids that might be headed for our planet, meteors, so on. That could be that could wipe us out. And and not investing and taking care of this country and this world, that's not an act of someone who's for democracy and for really helping people. Um, and it's true that the will of the majority can sometimes be an abuse, an oppression of the minority, and that's why you need to divide powers. But right now, we have in an unelected person, Elon Musk, tremendous power over government. We didn't vote for this guy. Did you vote for him? No, nobody did. Trump placed him there. And without the go ahead from Congress. So, you've got a Supreme Court corrupted that will rubber stamp anything that he does, just about. And you've got a corrupted Congress and Senate. And the corruption is largely in the Republican Party. If you got rid of the Republican Party right now, you'd probably have a much better life. Except that we need a two-party system. We need those good Democrats to come back, and the ones who believe in democracy, the ones who see what you understand what Bernie Sanders is talking about. Yeah. So let's hear more what this great man has to say.
Nobody who was 150 years old or 200 years old or 300 years old is receiving Social Security checks. And on the lies go. Now, the purpose of all of this lying is not just to push his hateful right-wing ideology. It is not just to try to divide us up. It is more than that. It is a masterful effort, and you saw that tonight, to deflect attention away from the most important issues facing the people of our country. Issues that Trump and his billionaire friends do not want to address because it is not in their financial interests to do so. Trump gave his State of the Union speech tonight. But if you listen closely, that speech had very little to say about the State of the Union, about what is really going on in our country, especially for working families. Trump spoke for over 90 minutes, although I must confess it seemed a lot longer than that, and he almost completely ignored the issues that are keeping working people up at night as they worry about how their families are going to survive in these very tough times. And I will tell you exactly why Trump had very little to say about the real crises facing the working class of this country. Think back 6 weeks ago when Trump was inaugurated for his second term as president, just 6 weeks ago. Standing right behind him were the three wealthiest men in this country, Mr. Musk, Mr. Bezos, and Mr. Zuckerberg.
Yeah, the super wealthy, and they're standing behind him because they don't care about you. They just want to pad their pockets and be able to have all the power. Have thousand. They could have 1,000 yachts that they own if they wanted to. They want that freedom to do that. You know, and that's not enough. That's not enough. They want even more of a power grab. They've already got billions of dollars, but they want billions more. It's an addiction. It's a sickness. What this channel is about is pointing out a spiritual disease. And I say spiritual because the things that are virtue are ways of meeting human need, and democracy works well with human rights and human needs. Getting more people an opportunity to thrive and to have their voice heard. It helps to build empathy. It helps to unite a country and a world together. In this channel, it's not just about the United States, it's about every country. So let your comments fly. This is a problem around the world. And it's especially bad in Russia. And, So when you're going to pay attention, and I'll say it's a spiritual disease, because there are ways of getting your needs met that involve empathy, objective empathy, creative empathy, and compassionate empathy, from which we get in order truth and artfulness and goodness. And the disease of a lack of empathy is a spiritual disease. Nothing to do with religion or lack of it or presence of it or anything. It's it's a core human value system that I'm talking about, and it's spiritual. It's beyond just self-concern, and hmm, it's something that lifts everybody up and helps everybody to do better. Once you stir things up and get people confused and you get people hating, uh, then you forget the outcome of actions like Trump. Uh, there will be people already who are going to die because of his actions, because insecurity, financial insecurity, lack of health care, which has been going on in this country a long time. And the wonderful thing about Bernie Sanders is he's not just fighting against this new clown, an oppressor, Trump, although he's terribly spiritually ill. Um, yeah, like those three guys behind him. And you know, and they are millionaires. Now, this is how scary it is. There are even millionaires who are afraid to stand up to power, to wealth, to Elon Musk and the craziness of Trump. Even though they know they're business people, even though they know tariffs are a bad idea, they don't say anything because they're afraid these rich people will somehow destroy their business. You ever heard of a monopoly? Wow, well, these three guys certainly seem to own just a whole lot more than their fair share. Don't you agree? And trading partners, involved in a project, in a business, they should own part of that business. It shouldn't just be a funnel for somebody to keep enriching themselves beyond all reason to the point that it threatens democracy itself. You know, I, if you have a lot of money, it's in your care and it shouldn't just sit there. You need to do something to help people. And you need to have a government to do that. There needs to be a balance of powers. You need to have an independent media, independent government or state, and you have to have the independent voice of extended family organizations like churches and synagogues and you know other forums as well. Um, they need their voice, their freedom, and none of these forces, and all of it serves trade, because trade is, how we are loved and how we love. It's the love flow. It's trade is a love flow. It meets human needs, and that's what I mean by love. So it's all about trade, certainly. But that trade needs to be educated, needs to be fair, and it needs to be productive in terms of helping make sure that there are no hungry kids anywhere. That there's, when a tyrant comes in and attacks a country, we stand with them. We don't allow that aggression to continue. And right now, Russia's actually, he's pulling troops from North Korea. He's weak. just keep resisting him. He's growing weaker and weaker and weaker, and he has China waiting, who used not always be friendly and who would like to have a chunk of Russia. So, he's got reasons to back away if we stand firm, because he's weakening his country. And Trump is trying to weaken our country by turning against our allies. You've got to be kidding. So, that and ganging up on the president of Ukraine, that pathetic president and vice president that we have, that was the disgusting display. Bullies. They were bullies. With a guy whose virtue and courage uh, they couldn't touch. They're nowhere near half the man that Zelensky is. Neither of them. And it's one one of our famous actors said, maybe I should name him. Maybe I shouldn't. He wants to he wants to punch Trump. He'd like to punch Trump in the nose. Well, it isn't all about Trump. It's about this disease, and that's what this channel is talking about. And a great man like Bernie Sanders, he's all about empathy and the things that help empathy help meet human needs and about balance of powers. Let's hear more of what he has to say.
And standing behind them were 13 other billionaires who Trump had nominated to head major government agencies. Many of these same billionaires, including Musk, were in the Capitol tonight listening to that speech. In other words, it is there for all to see. The Trump administration is not hiding it. The Trump administration is a government of the billionaire class, by the billionaire class, and for the billionaire class. Notwithstanding some of their rhetoric, this is a government that could care less about ordinary Americans and the working families of our country. My friends, we are no longer moving toward oligarchy. We are living in an oligarchic society. Now let's take a moment and try to escape from Trump's parallel universe, the universe that you heard tonight. And let's do something really, really radical. Let's actually take a hard look at the problems that Americans are facing. Today, 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Unlike Trump, I grew up in a family that lived paycheck to paycheck, and I know something about that reality. It means that every day, millions of Americans worry about how they're going to pay their rent, pay for childcare, pay for a doctor's visit when they get sick. They worry about what happens when their car breaks down and they can't afford the $1,000 it costs to get it fixed. And what happens when they can't get to work because they don't have a car. They worry about how they can afford to buy healthy food for their kids when the price of food is off the charts. Funny? I heard Trump speaking for 90 minutes tonight. I didn't hear one word from him about the economic reality facing 60% of our people or the enormous stress that they are living under.
And that stress shortens lifespans. It's insidious, this impact of Trump and his oligarch friends. This is insidious. It's so spiritually ill. It's but the spirit. Being spiritual and being being healthy spiritually and being all about love and empathy, doesn't mean that you don't stand up to the bullies. You have to. It doesn't mean that you don't take these bullies and put them in prison where they need to be, um, to protect society. That you have to do. Now, you don't have to have a punishing attitude. These are sick brains, but they shouldn't be in charge, and there, I believe there's treatment for their sick brains. And I talk about that on the channel. Um, I believe there are reasons why people do the things they do, and the punishment doesn't get us anywhere, and hate doesn't get us anywhere. I don't hate Trump. Trump is a sick man. Putin is a sick man. They make me angry, and if I were in Ukraine, I would pick up arms and old as I am, I'd just be cannon fodder. But yeah, I'd be there, and yeah. Well, let's hear some more from this really wise guy. And by the way, he has a channel under his name, Bernie Sanders on YouTube. Look it up. That's where I got this. And please subscribe to his channel and help him get his message out and share his message, maybe the way I'm doing it or some other way. But for the full speeches and so on, go to his site, Bernie Sanders, on YouTube. Let's hear more from this truly great American.
90-minute speech, not one word about the economic reality facing American workers. But that's not all. Today in America, everyone knows that our healthcare system is broken. It is dysfunctional, and it is outrageously expensive. We remain the only wealthy nation on earth not to guarantee health care for all. Mr. President, you really want to make America great again? Then make sure that every American, regardless of income, can go to a doctor or a hospital and not worry about how they're going to pay the bills. President Trump, health care is a human right.
It most certainly is. And, it's how do you come up with this right? Well, this right is having to do with empathy and these forms of empathy that I talk about that give us our virtues and our spirituality. And these perspectives need to be divided and understood, um, and and interacting, but independent. And that's like we have in our government. Congress is, you know, what power does Congress have? Rubbers, when they rubber stamp everything that the president says. I mean, that's not America. That's not any kitchen table in America. That's not any family reunion in America. But it's the reality today because of the Republican Party not being the Republican Party anymore. So that's got to stop. But things were not great, before. And we had too much oligarchy going on before this, but now it's outrageous and almost total. So yeah, it's a right for people to find the healing they need, and this nonsense about not letting a woman and their doctor make the moral decisions and the health decisions they need to make around a pregnancy, uh, huh, that's already caused the death of some women, and one died on the on the edge of the hospital, on the the just just outside the hospital, died because she couldn't get care. I mean, this is outrageous and dictating what the doctors can and can't do. Heck, that's these insurance companies are part of that. I did not choose an insurance company to be my doctor, but they're trying to buy and own our doctors and nurses and so on. I mean, they're always wanting more information from me. I don't, look, they are. And, yeah, well, that's between you and your doctor, not you, your doctor, and your insurance company. You know, healthcare should be just a right, not a privilege. It should just go in, and the doctors can do what they need to do. One doctor in France was asked, "Well, gee, don't you wish it was more like in the United States and you could have $2 million homes instead of just one?" And the doctor says, "Yeah, but what's it worth that to be able to prescribe what my patients need and they can get it, they can afford it, they can have it?" That's called empathy, and it's lacking. And part of empathy is to debate, from each other's point of view, and we can do that. But when it crosses the line and it's no longer objective, creative, and compassionate empathy being expressed, no, you don't have to put up with that, and you shouldn't. That's not a point of view, that's a tyranny. So here's this great man who should be president, but the parties didn't allow that to happen.
I didn't hear one word from you, not one word. Over 90-minute speech, not one word from you about the healthcare crisis that is impacting many, many millions of our people. Nor did I hear you say why we pay by far the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs, sometimes 10 times more than the people in other countries, and why 1 out of 4 Americans are unable to afford the prescriptions their doctors prescribe.
Yeah, just like I was
Not
saying.
one word about the outrageously high cost of prescription drugs. Mr. President, we have nearly 800,000 Americans who are homeless. Over 20 million of our people spend more than half of their limited income on housing. We have a major housing crisis in America. Everyone knows it, apparently, except you, because in your speech tonight, I didn't hear you mention the housing crisis. Today in America, we have more income and wealth inequality.
That is a major point. And we have veterans on the street that don't have a home. They gave they risked their lives. They gave their time and their energy, selflessly, really, to help the country. And they come home, and we don't take care of them. They don't have a home. They don't have medical care. That's being the VA is now under threat from this Trump and Elon who wants to cut fat. Who wants to cut fat? I can tell him where the fat is. It's somebody sitting on $1 billion of fat, $1 billion of money, and because of their sickness, their desire, their greed, and their power mongering. It's just never enough. They're addicts. We have addicts that are trying to take over our government. And what do you say? Just say no. Remember that? Just say no. These people need treatment. They don't need more power and more money. And it's the people who work hard and risk their lives every day, like the police and the fire and so on. They're the ones, they should be living like kings. And the nurses, they should be living high on the hog, folks. And the doctors, they should be doing well. They would still be doing well, even in if everybody had health care. They might have only $1 million home, you know? Come on. But, it's this greed and everything. It's not a good idea. And I can't think of there's no religion I can think of that believes that greed is good. But I've actually heard there was a book like that, Greed is Good or something to that nature. It is not. And capitalism is fine. It's the fire that helps us create. It can be overly creative, yeah, it can, and it needs to be modified, by all of these other forces I'm talking about. The you know the three perspectives that I mentioned, and the and business, state, church, and media. All the media, the church, and the state. Well, they serve trade, and trade in the broad sense of how we meet needs and get our needs met, and feed our children. This sort of thing. That's the broad picture. And we need to pay women. We need to pay women to if they want to stay home with their baby. That's a very good thing. And in that case, they should get a wage from the government. They should be paid to do it. You know, she shouldn't be forced to go work at Wendy's and pay somebody else to take care of her kids. I mean, that's nuts to me. I don't know what you put it in the comments. I mean, there's things that you could disagree with on me on what to do about some of these things, but you may have some ideas of your own. Please give us your ideas. Let's listen to a little bit more of this great man. Remember, he has a YouTube channel you can get. You should subscribe to it.
Quality
I
than we've
have.
ever had. Three richest people in America, the folks Trump invited to stand behind him at his inauguration, now own more wealth than the bottom half of our society, 170 million Americans. Did anyone out there hear one word from the President of the United States on that enormously important issue, which gets to the very fabric of our society? So few owning so much while so many people suffer. And here's something else the President forgot to discuss. Not only is our life expectancy 4 years lower than other wealthy countries, the bottom 50% in this country, the working class of America, on average, live 7 years shorter lives than the top 1%. Got that? In other words, being poor or working class in this country today is a death sentence. Did you hear any discussion tonight as to why so many of our people are?
Of course, he's talking about the State of the Union address of Trump here recently. That's a final point. I think you get the drift. Um, please subscribe, share, comment, and like. Um, that really helps this small team to keep going and to be in the fight. And so, if you like what we present and what we say, usually I'm the the mouthpiece, but there are other people. Okay. help us get to 5 million subscribers. That would be great. Um, that would be great, and then we could afford to do more and spreading empathy and love and virtue around the world, which is the purpose of this channel, and certainly it has to be also political. It's just not a complete package unless you add politics, because politics and the vote and democracy is the fertile ground that you need for empathy to thrive. You want freedom? The real freedom is the freedom to love and be loved. That's it. And to better meet all the needs of all the people, and especially the children, and have some heart for those who are growing old and giving their last breath sometimes in attempts to help their kids and their grandkids. Um, there's some great people out there. This gentleman, Bernie Sanders, is a grandpa. Um, Look how much he's contributed. So respect the elderly, love the kids, and have a great day or night, whatever it is, when you see this. And please join in the resistance against this spiritual sickness of greed and power mongering. All right? Until next time. Yeah, well, I've got to be a ham. I'm going to sing you a song from my heart to yours. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. The rain fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand, or her hand, or its hand, however you see it. And keep love and faith and trust and democracy alive. It's up to you.